This week on Checkpoint, Lesotho's illegal miners. Their defiant displays of power. Shocking cruelty. And how their presence in Orkney has turned the northwest mining town into a war zone.
I've purchased bulletproof vests for everybody, yeah? My night shift works with bulletproofs.
These people are hired. Remember, they're not just digging for themselves. They are hired.
So they're hired by South Africans?
Exactly.
It's Checkpoint, and I'm in Nkipile Mabuse. A seemingly jubilant group of Basotho, brandishing revolvers and pistols in the air, announced their arrival to South Africa's gold mines. One of them throws himself on the ground in what appears to be a trance. This is the only video among those we've collected that we are able to broadcast. The rest are far too macabre. In one of the clips shared with Checkpoint, a decapitated man's head is rolled on the ground like a football. Then a revolver comes into view. A foot emerges to roll the head so the dead man's face faces the camera. In a third video, a man wearing traditional beads around his waist has his throat slit, but not before his killers ensure the ordeal is recorded. The use of cell phone videos in the dark and dangerous world of so-called zamazamas was brought into sharp focus when 20 dead bodies were found near Orkney gold mine in the northwest province in June. This man's video now forms part of the police investigation. Suspected to be the remains of Lesotho nationals, their consul general was called to assist. First with negotiations and later with the identification of the dead.
I went there and humbly requested and gave them the offers that were put on table. And they responded. And they said, no, we'll get back to you. I think after an hour or 30 minutes or so, I went back to the pit. And
so at that time when you're talking to them, where are they and where are you? Are they like
right
down on the
they're
pit?
like down in the pit, and you could actually see them. Yeah, so he actually came up and half body. And the other one was right in the pit, told us, actually the total number of the bodies is 21. And I said, no, but the number we have here is 20. So, no, it should be 21. Okay, so let's calculate. Yesterday was 5, then 14, and now it's 1. That makes 20. They're like, no, anyway, it should be 21, but we no longer have bodies underground. And do you have injured people? Yeah, we do. Do you mind bringing them up? No, allow us not to do that, please. We'll do it at our own time. Okay, no problem. Anything, any assistance, anything? Nah, not really. Okay, well, thank you. They're like, no, thank you very much. he went back and that was it. So I gave the information to the police and left. So the process of identifying bodies then started. They were in body bags and they had decomposed badly. They tried to take, fingerprints and stuff, but I mean, the flesh was actually peeling off.
Most of the body bags were labeled.
The names that were there, I was able to say, these are definitely Basotho. Some were just villages.
So when the illegal miners took out the bodies, they had written certain information for each body.
Yeah.
Okay.
It became the Consul General's task to go through each and every single name.
My clan, so we have the specific name for Bakwena, names for Bakwena, Mahwahwa, Batlokwa, you name it. And I'm like, no, this one is I'm definitely related to this one somehow. And I knew it would either be Botabute or somewhere near Botabute. Started making phone calls. And I was right, it was in Leribe, and it was definitely Lehuahua, and that was the second to be identified. The other one was a surname and 2 cell phone numbers. The first cell phone number did not go through, the second one went through. I was talking to the brother of the deceased. He confirmed the name, and I asked him, do you perhaps know anyone around your village who could have left with your brothers? He said, yeah, another one is actually also my cousin. Do you have such a name? Yes, we have a name. Another one is my cousin, is a fourth one. Do you have such a name? Yes. Another one is my neighbor, son. Do you have such a name? Yes, we have such a name. So now the number is 5.
And so it went on. In the meantime, as word of mouth spread, many who had missing family members came forward to view and identify the bodies.
Why do you think a lot of your citizens come over to South Africa and participate in this illegal mining?
If you want to go anywhere out of Lesotho, you'll first go through South Africa. So easy access. I mean, some other parts, the borderline would be a river. Some other parts, nothing at all. It used to be a fence that does not exist. You probably see one pole. So that's the first one. And the second one would be that Basotho were majority in the mines in South Africa. One other major factor, socio-economic problems.
As the government of Lesotho, do you not somehow feel responsible for the influx of your nationals into South Africa?
Of course, any reasonable government it will click to say, look, we need to do something.
Why has it taken so long for the Lesotho government to say, hey, listen, our people are dominating this illegal mining industry? Surely there's something we're not doing right.
Do you honestly think somebody will move from Lesotho, come mine in South Africa without a consent of South Africans? It's impossible. You would not even know where the mines are. Which pits are being used. And these people are hired. Remember, they're not just digging for themselves. They are hired.
So they're hired by South Africans?
Exactly.
Coming up, fed up and ready to pack up.
I don't want to be here anymore. We are planning on relocating to another province. But there is a bit of a process, you first got to sell this place and.
Orkney Dorpni, Orkney Plasni is how Afrikaners used to describe it, meaning it's not a town, nor is it a farm. In the late 1980s, it was the location of South African sitcom Orkney Snorkney. But it was mining that took center stage way before then, back in the 1800s. Giants including Anglo-American, African Rainbow Minerals and Harmony all benefited from the high-grade gold rush in Orkney. Today, there are no signs of the wealth that has been extracted over decades, and there's loads more underground. In 2009, following the liquidation of Pamodzi Gold, Kulubuse Zuma-owned Aurora also got in on the action. For 2 years under Aurora, nothing happened. 10 years ago, China African Precious Metals Mine, or CAPM, set up camp here with grand promises. One of its directors, interviewed by Engineering News in 2013, painted a rosy picture of reinvestment by the Chinese in 6 of the mine's 7 shafts.
Do you think you'll bring all 6 shafts back into operation?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And have you got any sort of timeline of expectation?
Within 5 years.
To date, CAPM has failed to expand operations beyond 1 shaft. And as has become evident across the country, an idle mine is the perfect playground for Zamazamas.
To see the town deteriorate over the last couple of years was just horrifying.
Bevan Ford was born and raised in Orkney. He's owned this petrol station for 22 years, having taken it over from his father. The Orkney he now lives in resembles a war zone, he says. His business is located exactly opposite a ventilation shaft used by Zamazamas as an entry point to underground.
Number one, they're ruthless. They just a group of people or organization that just they're not worried about the law or anything like that.
Gun battles between mine security and illegal miners have become a common occurrence, he says.
I'd say around about 2017, 2018. They started across the Raja by the vent shaft. It's a big cement building with a door. So you just have to cut the lock open and there you go. And there were step ladders going all the way to the bottom. So that's how they started in this town. And from there they now moved out to 7 shaft, the gold plant, to that side of Orkney. And what people don't realize in this town is that we are actually surrounded by the Zamazamas.
According to the Department of Mineral Resources, security is the responsibility of the mine owner.
In terms of the law, is the owners puts the onus on the owner to safeguard the mine itself.
But the mine security firm is losing the battle.
They have reported to us that they've tried to even remove these illegal miners at a specific shaft they were shot at.
Between the time you were told to the time the minister went there, nothing was done by the DMR to intervene there.
There is a multi-forum, that has a multi-stakeholder forum that has been established that involved the law enforcement agencies, the local law enforcement agencies, as I indicated. They have been implementing the respective measures.
Which measures are those? Which measures have they?
I'll make an example. I mean, for instance, if let's say there's a need to encourage mining, they will encourage that.
Encourage mining while staring down the barrel of a gun?
Given the criminal elements that are involved at a national level, right, we'll need to have a particular task team or force to really to assist.
Do you remember the first time you had an encounter with them? Please tell me about that.
Oh, it was hectic. This is a small, peaceful little town. Nothing really much happens here. And I remember that was in the evening sometime. They say 9, 10 o'clock, then all hell broke loose with gunfire and noises and stuff like that, yeah.
When it was happening, were you aware that it's Zamazamas fighting?
No, we didn't have an idea. Once you started talking to the community, then we actually realized these people have been here for some time already, but just under the radar. They come in so once a month, every second month. That's when they do a shift change. That's when the Zamas underground comes out of the shaft, the new ones must go in. Or when they drop off food, then they will start shooting with pistols, let's say 5, 6 shots, to distract the security guys. Then there'll be a bit of gunfight between them from one side, and then they will start bringing in the food, or they'll bring the next shift that's coming in from that side. And once those people start crossing paths, That's when the big guns come out. I'm talking AK-47s. There's been talks of R1s, R4s, R5s, hunting rifles. Hunting rifles is what the snipers use. So they've got a group that comes in the front. They are not the guys going underground, but they're the guys opening up the road for them to go into the ground. The security companies carry ARs and pistols and shotguns. You can hear the noise is completely different, but the noise that comes out of an AK-47 is not the same sound that comes out of a normal AR-15.
And you've heard them all?
We heard them all.
We have seen that there's an escalation now of using heavy artillery or rifles.
Yeah, we had to repair 2 of the petrol pumps that took knocks, two bullet holes in 2 pumps. One of the car's window was shot out, a few shots into the building's wall. Like today's Thursday, it's shift change, then we write the new shift for the next week, and it's always an argument who's working night shift because they don't want to, which is understandable. I've purchased bulletproof vests for everybody here. My night shift works with bulletproofs. When the Zama thing started in 2017, I'm involved with a security company as well. So I've learned a lot, we've trained a lot, my people are trained. And if the bullets start flying and they radio me in, because I just live down the road not too far, then I come through town, and then I can make sure that everyone's safe and sound. Scary. And on the business side, when the sun sets, our customers disappear, the road's quiet. Now the turnover's dropped a lot. Give or take, we're looking about between 450 and R500,000 a month turnover that we've dropped. We've had shootouts at our local spa in town. That is one of the main supermarkets, and there's always traffic, there's always people. And there was a Zama on Zama shooting there where they shot and killed the guy. In town. There's big boys on top, and those are the guys that must be taken out. The guys at the bottom, arrest them today, they just bring new ones tomorrow. I'm talking Lesotho, Mozambique, Zimbabwe. We can see it in our town. The Mozambique cars, the Lesotho cars in this town is unbelievable.
The people who are doing the digging themselves, basically they're employed by these syndicates. They are not earning much, really. They are undocumented people. We're told that more than 80% of the people who are doing the digging who take risks with their lives to do this work. They are being employed. They are not documented people.
The police are simply outgunned and outnumbered.
They are trying, but our station only carries pistols. If when we have problems over here, we have to get the guys from Clarksop to come and help. And the Zamas are also very clever. When the guys are working, then there's no activity, because they work 4 days on, 4 days off. Once they're on their off days, that's when everything happens. Now, these people are very well organized and very well prepared. They always one step ahead.
So they even know the shifts of police.
Mm-hmm.
And you say the gunfire and everything starts picking up once the shift of the police have stopped.
Mm-hmm. Future for this town doesn't look good. In general, the mines are going down. When the Chinese took over, a lot of people were entrenched and. If I can go into the property side, houses' values are now half in the area where the Zamas are. And I'm talking of nice houses. Everything has just dropped off. I don't want to be here anymore. We are planning on relocating to another province. But there is a bit of a process, you first got to sell this place and. But we'll take it as it comes.
Next, the Orkney community tries to wrestle its town back from Zamazamas.
When we come in, they jump in the roof. Then sometimes we use, when they don't want to come down, we use pepper spray to take them down.
Okay.
They do come help.
It's sunset, and members of the Orkney Community Policing Forum, accompanied by private security companies, gather for their weekly patrol.
My name is Tebo Kubega. I'm chairperson of CPF in Orkney. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for coming.
We're going to patrol that Zama zone that side, and then we're going to make a U-turn, and then we come back this way.
In a convoy, they visit hotspots. Some of the abandoned and unoccupied houses they will search tonight used to be the homes of mine employees. With very little mining happening these days, the structures have been occupied and vandalized by criminals, many of them allegedly linked to Zamazamas.
I think the last 3 years, housebreaking, the cable, those houses are vandalized. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed or mutohoronga stove during the day. Ohoronga matila during the day. Ohoronga stove as during the day. Motiar. Now you ask yourself, now what's happening? And it's normal. It's normal. It's like normally. And the moment you'll be in trouble.
Stolen goods are kept here. Now we are going to come and check what's happening in this house. Thank you.
You can see somebody staying here, clearly. Lots of bottles, place of fire.
Suspected stolen loot is found.
TV that's broken.
But no suspects.
We are going to another house in Oakley, Longfellow Street. Isn't that the house is very busy? There are stolen goods being killed in that house. We're going to check what's happening.
It's not just Orkney's gold that's been stolen, but copper, which is sold on the black market.
This is already how they strip some of the cables out.
Easier is gone, everything is gone. They strip everything. When we come in, they jump in the roof. Then we use, when they don't want to come down, we use pepper spray to take them down.
Okay.
And they do come out.
Okay.
And they have knives. Like they tried to stab us before. Yes. I was shot on 2 months back by the Zamazamas. Yes. Okay guys, the house all clear. But still check each other's backs, please. It's not in a dangerous area, eh? Never ever be comfortable.
Vandalized. The Oppenheimer James Mtati Stadium is being vandalized.
By who?
By the Zamazamas. Doesn't function like God. I haven't seen them, but doesn't function like God according to reports that I'm receiving every month from neighborhood watches. To be honest, we need manpower in terms of coming to the police. If we can come together with the police, with the manpower from the police, we can win this battle. Yes, crime may not fail completely, but at least it can drop. Yeah, I can get manpower, the crime can drop. I can promise you, yes.